Let you guys hang out for a second. I'm still tidying something up real quick. So guys, I'll show y'all something here in just a second. So, figured I'd show you guys something while I'm here. Alright, sweet. So, I was tidying up something from the last build I was showing y'all real quick. I've kind of got myself finishing that real quick. Yeah, so you got you some big old wire, right? No, that's not it. So, got some 4/0 sitting right here. Got some 4/0 right here. That's some big wire, wouldn't you say? There's some fun stuff right here. Wife says it's like an umbilical cord. This is going out to, let's just say, going up north. This stuff's actually jacketed, shielded, and everything. So, that's some big old wire going out. It's 10 wires in one. But yeah, figured I'd show y'all that before I started. Ugh. You'll have to go back and watch it if y'all missed it. But that's going up to up north. Not necessarily the Great Lakes, but somewhere near the Great Lakes. There's some more wire right there. And some more wire right there. And I still got more to build for this guy. But I ran out of solder. I got some more for him today. But I gotta finish another order that's kind of pressed, so I'm trying to get it finished first. What we're gonna do today is some flex. Y'all can feel free to chill and hang out. It's right here. Oh Lord. So y'all get to see this project. If y'all hadn't seen this wire before, this wire is basically flexible wire. You can kind of go wherever you want with it, but it's good for handling some good stuff. What's up, man? How you doing, 263? All right, so excuse me, blade. I gotta figure out where I put my razor blade at. I done hid it from myself. I was using it a few seconds ago and now I hit it. It's only negative about working with tools, especially when you got enough of them. But yeah, this is the flex. I think I'm doing, I'll show you guys what I'm doing next. Yeah, it's actually crazier than that, as far as what it's, not necessarily crazier than NASA, but it's crazier than you think. But specifically it's used for some other stuff. Unfortunately it will not go back to that market, but luckily enough for us it's going to come to this market for cheap, actually. So pretty happy about that. I mean, I guess for not really a major benefit for me, but it definitely is a benefit for most of my customers. if they decide to get it. I've got to find what I'm doing on this order. There we go. Cool. I gotta look and see what I'm building so I can show y'all what's coming next. That stuff is alright. I'll have to bear with me for a second. Yeah, I know what I'm doing. Whatever. Alright, so what we're doing on this one is going to be a split feed. So you'll kind of see this wire come into play here. And then you'll see another connector. If I've got one right over here. I do. Going back into here. This is, need that knife. I'll let y'all see. This is probably, within reason, the biggest PL259 connector made. There's definitely a way to build a bigger connector with the proper adapters. And there's also one more connector that is bigger, but it is absolutely not practical. So this is pretty much the biggest practical UHF application to run in. So if you take a look, there it is. Oh, well, hang on, let's do what my wife said to do. Block myself out. See if it worked. There y'all go. That's what it is. That's from some crap from Facebook, how to make the camera focus. I am not a videographer or a live stream professional. I'm just showing y'all some cool stuff, or at least what I consider to be pretty cool. It's going to take me a split second or so because I've got to find something. This is a connector I'm going to be using here, and the other connector I'm going to be using is going to be this, and my other pieces are going to be here. Right there. So y'all can see what's going on there. Now from here, what I've got to do is find the thing I was walking around like a chicken with my head cut off looking for something, and it just so happens to be right there in my pocket. So here we go. Alright, so from here, let's cut this back right here. Oh goodness, I got a few too many things on my table. Again, y'all. What's up? Wave it a hand. You know what? I didn't realize I was missing something. And it is absolutely important. I usually do this stuff right a little bit after dusk when it cools down a bit. Because I have to do most of this work outdoors because it's such big wire. You can't really do it unless I had a big shop, and we'll see how that goes. That may be coming soon, but as of now, for the next little while, y'all have to see me here. Alright, so from this point, I'm just cutting my jacket. This wire is, again, like I'd said in the past, not necessarily the exact wire that this connector is designed for. if you know what you're doing, you can retrofit it. This is the one connector I would not recommend to a customer, because most of the other connectors I can set up for a customer. I can kind of make it as easy as possible, per se. Not necessarily easy, but easier than like going blind. I mean, I can kind of give them a little instruction, send them a little manual, and they can kind of just follow the rules. And if they watch the videos that I do, they can kind of make something happen. But this right here is not quite that forgiving, so it's takes a little bit more retrofit to make it work, and you just got to know what you're doing. I mean, if you copied my video, you could probably make it happen, but it's just not something I would recommend to the novice soldering, well, novice coax builder. Let's just say that. Not necessarily even soldering skills, just the novice coax builder. What I'm doing here is cleaning the jacket. I don't have to have this much speed, so I'm dropping my Alright, I need to clean up my mess. I got me a little trash can set up within arm's reach, so let's go ahead and handle that mess. That plastic gets everywhere when you get that much stuff. Alright, so let's go ahead and go pink. That's what we do on this one. And now, y'all get to see how much easier it is for me to use scissors. Jeez, so much easier. I'd used multiple methods in the past of cutting my heat shrink, and all of them are annoying because they don't cut it completely in one cut. So I have to straighten and work and things like that. So. All right. Here's where you see the retrofit process start. Need to move these copper shims out of my way. Alright. I got a little bit of solder left over, so I'm going to use what I have left over. I'm saving that other solder for another job. You guys will kind of see it later as it comes up. Oh no, lost my grip. And as long as you keep your temperature on your iron proper, using just the solder itself, you can use that to clean your tip. Somebody asked me about flux in the past. If you look at any of your wires, when you buy the right ones, it's actually rosin core flux that they use. So don't get too... the whole point of a flux is to adhere a bond and clean a joint. That's what it does. So if you got a clean joint, you don't have to worry about using extra flux to make something work. I prefer to clean my joints and make sure everything's nice and fresh whenever I use it. What I'm doing now is doing the shield. This is a UHF or PL259 connector for a 1/2 inch flex. This wire is basically flexible hardline. Handles just a little bit less power than regular hardline. but it's more than acceptable, and I had a lot of people upgrading to it. It's not very expensive, it's cheap, you don't have to spend a bunch of money on it, and handles respectable amount of wattage. So that's generally why people do it. Alright, so I'm running a prep. Well, it's on the chop. So there you go. Alright, so in case you guys didn't know, I have to make a little simple wedge system with this, and I seem to have forgotten what I used for a wedge last, so you'll have to see me kind of come up with a new idea. I'm constantly doing that because on a bench like this, you just kind of have to work with what you got. So let's see what I got. It's heavier than that. Just heavier. Alright, so all I'm doing is just wedging this contact in a certain position. I want to kind of hold it where I wanted it. Let's see where I had this last. Did I have it in here? Nope. Oh, here comes my new idea. You'll see how well it works or doesn't work. You can kind of make anything work whenever you're doing stuff like this. I don't expect you guys to have like the most fancy tools in the world, so that's why I kind of just show y'all stuff like this. Because it doesn't really matter to me what I do to make the job work, as long as I know I'm doing it properly. And that's really what I focus on. I'm just trying to make sure something's in the position I need it to be. I just got this set up where it's just not going to move, and where I can put my terminal in. I need to have a little bit more strength on it, so I'm going to try to keep it from pushing back on me so easily. So I'll have it lined up. Alright, so time to get... I just messed up my bench. That's what happens when you got a dirty bench. Alright. Let's go ahead and handle this. There we go. Now I got enough length to run around. You'll see what I'm doing here. I'm pre-tinning my connection over here. If you're not good with heat, then be careful for a little bit after you solder this. If y'all ever get this far with this wire, then make sure that you go back and let it cool, because it can get hot, especially if you're not good at soldering and it takes you a decent amount of time to do anything. Then I mean, you can just expect to have to deal with a hot terminal, because what happens when you put too much heat on copper, it wicks it. It was a quick response. I didn't even give y'all a chance to answer. Alright, so here we go. I'm just keeping a hold on my wedge, pretty much, because I'm not holding it very well. Watch that. See that? There we go. I have to get it at the right angle so I can work with it. And what I'm doing is just adding more heat. This may come off. I may have to push it against this whole thing. So we'll see what happens. See you riding up. Whatever. You have to deal with this stuff and anything you're working with. I'm trying to just keep this wire in a very simple, straight position so I can work with it. Alright. Alright, so that's kind of the concept. You'll see what I'm doing here in just a minute. I've got to get up and grab some tools. I just so happen to have exactly what I need for this job over here. Pardon the extremely nasty toolbox. For the guys who've been following, I have 4 benches and 1 toolbox that kind of goes between those 4. So you will most definitely see a messy toolbox. I meant to organize my toolbox earlier, but I do not have enough time in the day to do so, so just didn't happen. Alright, so here's the next step. Those of you who didn't hang out and didn't get to see the monster wire, I may show you it after I finish this flex, just because I think it's cool and pretty neat. So it's nice to be able to share it with other people and see how cool it actually is. Got a guy picked up some going up north, not the northeast corner and not the northwest corner. That's about the best I can give you. I may get some info from him on it whenever he gets around to it. We'll see how it goes. I know I put pink on here before. It's gonna make me a liar. We don't have to deal with that because I got lots of heat shrink, so we ain't gonna do that. This over here, cut it off from it. Kind of see. Next size up. Haha. Alright, we'll see how this shrinks down. If it doesn't shrink down good enough, then what I'll do is pull that back off and stretch it out. Whenever you're doing this, what might help you is if you get 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 heat shrink, rather than just buying random heat shrink from random places. If you get 3-to-1 or 4-to-1, then what will happen is the shrink ratio is better. And you don't have to worry about whether or not your connector is going to shrink down, or your heat shrink is going to shrink down to your smaller wire. See me, if you look, it's working pretty well. But if I really wanted to be particular, I would say this is the limit of what this particular heat shrink can shrink down to. So I would have to be careful about if I was to put that heat shrink on a smaller wire. And because I have extra and I don't really feel like wasting my time, nah, I'll save it. I'll use it over here. Whatever. Okay, so gotta do one more thing. I'll build my split feet. I guess I'll build it while y'all are here and y'all can see it. I've got to do one thing before I'm done with that, but whatever. Y'all don't have to see that part. You can kind of cheat with this stuff. It really don't matter how you do it. I mean, see, if you look, it's not necessarily straight. So what I can do is cheat with a little tool somewhere, if I got anything. I'll do it after. Alright, so what you can do is you can kind of match this flat. If you match it flat, it opens up wide. Yeah, I can do that. That's fine. In 1.5 weeks, you said? You talking about you want to get it in 1.5 weeks, or you're wanting to order it in 1.5 weeks? There's a big difference there. I'll see what I can do. That's kind of how it goes. You can kind of work with something here. I wanted to show you all the other method, but it really doesn't matter. I'm going to heat shrink it anyway, so it'll make it round. Sweet. I got me some food delivered, or something delivered. Tea. Any of you guys who do not like sweet tea, you're missing out on life. Iced tea is not the way to go. Yeah, I done it. I did to my knuckle earlier. Just pouring some tea since it just got gave to me, so might as well. We changed to a cooking show real quick. I'm gonna show y'all how to make some Chick-fil-A. No, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. Back to work. So I'm not lollygagging here. All right, so what I'm doing with this, you can kind of do the same thing as I do with a bigger connector. Just drill a small hole and wick it in, stuff like that. But it's not really that critical. Thank you. Appreciate it.
The girls' nuggets and medium fry are in there, but you got a large fry.
If you want, you can kind of dig them out. I mean, but otherwise.
Well, I'm not feeding. Eleanor's asleep. I'm gonna sit in the car.
Oh, she's gonna have to come outside then. Okay. All right, moving on. All right, what I'll do here, I'm kind of trying to save my little contraption I got going on over here, so I don't have to lose it. You don't have to have the best wedge in the world or the best holder in the world. If I had some rubber bands here, I'd show y'all what I do at work, but I do not currently have that, so I'll have to get by with solder. So you can kind of make anything really that you want to make whenever you want to make it. Sounds good, man. Just holler at me whenever. So what I'm doing now is just making a little homemade vise. You can make it with solder, you can make it with whatever you want. I mean, like I said, some of the stuff I do in some of the locations that I have to do it, especially when it's last minute, you definitely have to kind of come up with ideas. So I don't know what it is. I ain't getting up. I'll get it in a minute. I ain't able to eat yet. Hold on, guys. Lord, this is tempting. This is gonna make me pause the live feed and eat some food. All right, let's get back to work. With small connectors like this, if you got a smaller butane torch, you can kind of make it work. I'm able to cut this one down low enough where I'm fairly happy with it, so I don't worry too much about it. This is the normal way that I solder for the most part whenever you're doing a solder connection. You can hammer this flat, you can do lots of other things, but like I said earlier, and will say again to anybody who asks, solder is the best electrical connections. Crimp is the best mechanical connection. If you crimp and solder both, you will definitely have a good connection, but the mechanical connection of the crimp doesn't benefit you as far as in contact. I mean, maybe it give you a little bit more contact, but the solder is going to bond. So I will reiterate that to whoever I want to reiterate that to. They can argue till they're blue in the face, but that's just how it works. I mean, maybe you could use a higher conductivity. You could use a braze or a weld, and a weld might be better. But let's just say for our application, this is plenty sufficient, especially when it can handle a solder connection can handle hundreds of amps of current. So you're talking about RF current in the tens of amps. So no, it's fine. What you want is a nice smooth transition, nice good contact, and no hard sharp edges. This does have rounded edges. You could flatten that out, straighten that up a little bit, but it's not really enough of a high impedance bump to be a problem. So I'm not really concerned about it. I've never had any issues with it. I've done hundreds of these, so I would say, yeah, I would say hundreds. I'm trying to add up how many I've done over the years. I don't want to be sitting on here on live feed lying about what I've done. Gotta be realistic. Now, coaxes in general, probably built probably over 5,000, but in the larger size, probably 100 or so. In case you guys don't know, this is just a pretend. I'm building a short feed for a guy. He's let's cut this back. I want to do this a little different for him, just because that's going to be the way I do the shield, but I want to do the center the way I've been doing the other ones. Alright, so I'll show y'all what I do with this. I kind of just stick the soldering iron in there. What that does is opens it up. Just anything round with a pointed tip, even a pencil would work, doesn't really matter. So what I'm doing is just opening that connection up, and then I'll stick the wire in there, solder around it. I'll pre-solder that here in just a little bit once I actually get to fit it on the connector. I'll go ahead and start the next piece just because I'm here. This is a split feed, like I said earlier. It's going to be actually used for a tester, really, to be honest. But it is what it is. It's not a tester for me though, it's a tester for the customer. Let's kind of clarify that. You know what? I'm not building for myself right now. I may well be soon, but not just yet. I got a few more irons in the fire I got to take care of. Then I may document some of my builds, because I mean, it kind of follows along with the same thing as what I'm doing here, so it's good enough to share. I'm working on something. All right, there you go. Throw the excess off. Don't have to worry about it. There we go. Alright, so that's part of the split feed. I guess I should throw this over here and clean up my bench a little bit better. Alright, so from here, what I'm going to do is look at one piece of information, and y'all get to hang out and see that. Alright, I guess I'll help you guys out. I mean, let's just see if y'all want it. If y'all want the math for velocity factor, feel free to just do some thumbs up or something, or say yes or whatever. While I'm doing this, I'll be figuring out what I need to figure out, and I'll share the math with y'all if y'all want to hear it. If y'all don't, I'll just move right along to the next step. I'll give y'all a minute to respond. Wow. Well, I guess I probably should have looked and seen if y'all wanted to. I guess nobody else told me that, so I didn't see any thumbs up, so y'all just let me know one way or the other. Otherwise, I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the next step. If y'all like the math, I'll share it with you. If y'all don't want it, then like I said, it don't matter. It don't make no difference to me. I'll continue working. What I do to cut this to wire with is literally just use a simple tool. It don't really matter. You can use this. I have a bigger. All right, cool. Yeah, somebody's saying yeah, so I see some thumbs up. So I'll share it. You can use something as big as this. This is good for 350 MCM. You can use it for copper, aluminum. Those are kind of more expensive, so it doesn't long this and you work with it. All right, no problem. Well, we having some struggles here. Alright, to understand what velocity factor is, so I guess I'll go ahead and explain it to you. Alright, so I'm trying to find something specific for myself. It's becoming difficult because Maybe. Aha! Website was just down. I was looking for something specific. Whenever I do anything, what you have to go by is something called velocity factor. If anybody's ever heard that term, what that is just a they call relative propagation factor. What happens is RF travels at the speed of light. So it is part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum would be like visible light, infrared light, radio waves, microwaves, X-rays, all the way up to gamma rays. Any of that stuff is considered light or electromagnetic waves. They all travel at the same speed, so it's the speed of light. So you do some simple math and type in speed of light on the internet. So this, you don't have to remember this number. It's 299,792,458 meters per second. It's not 300 million meters per second like a lot of people say. It's actually a number, specific number. It kind of goes a little bit deeper than that, but that many decibels kind of goes where you need to go. So you take 299,792,458 meters per second times 792,458, and you divide that by the frequency that you want to operate at. Say what we want to operate at is say 27,205, directly in the middle of the CV band. You can type whatever frequency you want. So you divide that speed of light by the frequency that we operate at, 27,205,000 hertz. At that point, you get how many? There you go. You get how many meters a full wavelength is at our specific frequency. It's 11.019 meters. So if you've ever heard the statement, the 11 meter band, that's where it comes from. We're on the 11 meter band because it's a physical number. That's what it takes to make a full wavelength antenna in a vacuum at our frequency. So from there, what it comes down to is a lot of people want to know feet because we use it the standard system, not metric. So 3.2808 is what feet is. It's meters to feet conversion. She times 3.2808. There's a lot of people that do 3.3. That again can kind of mess you up. You go the same scenario. That's 36.15 feet. You divide that by 2, you get 18.07 feet. Oh, 18-foot coax. I've heard that for years. 18-foot coax is what I need to run on my system. No, that is what a half wavelength cut. Actually, 18.07680750241 feet is actually what a half wavelength is at our specific frequency at channel 20, basically. It does change slightly at the bottom of the band to the top of the band, about 1/4 of an inch, depends on what kind of coax you're running. What you have to do from there is figure out what's called velocity factor. That's the velocity factor of your coax. This coax right here is 88%, so I figured out what that half wavelength was at our specific frequency, and we times it by 88%. The reason I do that is because this wire right here does not travel, the RF does not travel at the speed of light through wire or through any sort of dielectric. So the type of dielectric matters. It slows down the speed that it can travel at that point. So try not to go too crazy with it. You just go by the velocity factor. You take that velocity factor into account, and you say it can go 88% of its normal speed through this particular wire. So that comes out to 15.90 feet. So I take 0.90 times times 12, and that's 15 foot, 10.8 inches. So that's if I'm going for the center of the band. That's what I'm going to do because this fellow's using this for a tuner. So that kind of tells y'all a little bit of math. There you go. There's what 15.90 times divided by 3.2808. All right, so it's 4.84 meters. So I'm going to measure this off and chop, just because I need to cut for what I need to cut, and you guys learn a little bit of information. So hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope you followed it. And there's my tidbit for the day. 979. 8. Sun is up. All right. All right. There we go. A little better now. My little hanger working. All right. So 79. 8. 8-1. So we're gonna go 7-9. Basically 5. 9, 7, 9. So 1, 2, 3. 4. Alright, so what I'll do from here is I'm going to cut down to close, and then I'll just run her off. So I've got a piece right here in the, you can really use whatever you want to use. I've got pretty close, but I'm double checking myself and cutting down to where I need to cut to. So y'all can feel free to see with me. And I'll slide my heat shrink while I'm at it. Might as well just go ahead and slide it all the way. Alright. You can use a piece of tape. You can use a string. You can use whatever you want. As long as you measure it and verify in the end your length. So 50, I gotta do 0.9 times 12, 10.8. So 10.8 is half. So measure tape done, cut done, and then what I'm gonna do is actually cut the same length, but I'm gonna build this center back. Gotcha. So in case you guys didn't know, your split feet counts towards your length. So there you go. And I saved my little piece of heat shrink from last time. That's how much extra I had. That was pretty close to what I needed. No, not for the main cut. I guess I guess I did have a bit extra, but I cut extra on purpose because I didn't really care to have to worry about whether or not I had enough. I can kind of be a little bit more precise when I'm not on the end of a spool, but really right now, if y'all look, I mean, I have only 2 runs left of this, so I've only got like 10 foot left, so I'm not going to be reusing what's left. Like, feel free to take that with you.
I see a napkin. Clean it up by Saturday.
I don't see one. Hey, take this with you. I'm done with it.
I'm not going inside.
Well, I'll wrap it up. Alright guys, so here comes the split feed and the fry. Ouch. Alright, so back to our cutting wheel. So you can use whatever you want to cut this. I use the cutting wheel because it's faster. If you use a Dremel, I mentioned in previous videos that you will have to go back and clean what you're cutting because you can leave shavings in there. They make prep tools for this, and you can purchase them, but I mean, if you're doing one wire, then up to you. So whoever's kind of just joined or whatever, this is just a split feed on the Flex that I'm into now. Y'all can kind of keep up from here. If y'all want to watch anything else, y'all want to learn about velocity factor, you'll have to go back and start the video over at the beginning and kind of find where I said it in the middle somewhere. I don't know what time I said it, so I can't help you out with that. Watch the video. You'll see some other cool stuff while I'm working, maybe, if you think it's cool. I'm just keeping this foam as a guide. I'm not keeping it for any other reason. It doesn't help me or benefit me in any way because it just melts, so don't really copy that and be like, oh, you gotta keep foam on there. He got foam on there. That's what it was for. So don't get too religious about it. Got a little wrap up. Clean up on all four. All right. I'm done with this for now, so we can go back. I'm putting stuff over top of it for no reason, and they can just go back over there. I normally clean up a little bit better on my bench and keep stuff a little bit more tidy, but I currently have food on my bench, so I don't really want to throw my stuff right over top of my food. So that's kind of why I'm being a little bit more careless, and you'll see a little bit more stuff tied in the middle right here in front of me. I mean, it's really kind of sad. This is like a 6 foot by 4 foot table, and I'm still piled up with all kinds of mess. So it just shows to show you can't build a big enough bench, no matter how big you build it. You just have to tidy up what you got and make it work. And the other reason I do these videos the way I do is because it's kind of to show you guys that you don't really have to have the best setup in the world to do this. I don't have to have a $1 million bench set up at the shop and to build wire with, because it's kind of more of a brute kind of job, a little bit, I guess you'd say. So don't get too scared when you don't have a bench. I built this bench in about an hour, maybe. Had a little kid help me move it. It's my little mini transmission table that I was gonna rebuild my own transmissions at, just because I have so many of the same motor and transmission. Alright, kind of shows you. This is kind of how it works. It's already hot. It's already cool enough to kind of let y'all see what it does. It's not gonna flip or come loose or anything like that. It's very flexible, easy to use. So that's kind of how this stuff works. Now, of course, you can get the wrong braid and it won't be nearly that flexible. I've gotten some stiff stuff before and been like wondering what the heck's going on. Thought I'd made a mistake, but it was just the braid that was at fault. And you can get some stuff from Napa. A lot of people like to get. That's literally the worst braid I've ever seen, really, to be honest. It's so thinly packed, it makes it, they put it really wide, make it look like it's a big wide braid, but really it's the equivalent of like 8 gauge or something. I mean, it's just horrible, or at least to me. I'm not a fan. You got Napa wire or Napa braid, then I'm sorry, but if it's the same stuff as I got, it was junk. My opinion, you can run it and it may work just fine for you, but I'll still stick with that. It's junk. Alright, so what's happening here, this wire is kind of flexible, but it still forms to the position it was in last, so that's why I'm throwing that on top. It'll help me line everything up, and I can line this wire up better. You use your legs, use your feet, use something to tag the stuff up in the right position. I'm literally using my leg to hold this where I want to hold it. So now I can work. Mostly, almost. I've got to use the flex, the wire itself too, to do that. That's the cool thing about having good flex wire. Well, flexible wire. I can kind of work with it. This wire is flexible, but it doesn't mean it's impervious to staying in one position. Flexible doesn't mean it's going to retain its original position. That's a different word, but I don't know what it is right now, so I'm not going to try to get all brainiac on you guys. Elasticity. Yeah, sorry, I had to do it. The word came to mind. Oh no, it's just some food, and it's not a big deal. We got a birthday party tomorrow to go to, and we got lots of planning. So the little one's sleeping, the other one's cleaning. So the wife finally said she's gonna have a little cheat day, and that's what she did. Nothing major. So she's pretty close. She's hanging out literally about 10 foot away, so don't think she's too far away. She keeps tabs on me. Oh, you little booger. Alright, so that's the start of my braid here. What I do beyond that point is wrap over here. Kind of pull this tight. I'm gonna press down on here. Alright, we are nearly complete, so I'll be done in the next 10 minutes, maybe max. So I will probably pause the live, or stop the live, and grab some food. But I'm so close to completion, I'm going to go ahead and finish this for the customer. And then y'all, if I got time, I'm going to show y'all something else cool that's coming up next. It's probably going to be one of my cooler builds for most of you guys, because you guys seem to be pretty hip to one wire, and y'all love that connector. So I will show y'all that connector that y'all have been somewhat requesting-ish. Move that out of my way. Alright. what I'm doing now is just holding tension on this. There we go. So now that's for the most part a completed split feed. The next step is just literally just matching up the braid length and cutting my end right here. So from here I'm gonna do something like this. Pull it forward, stretch it, and then cut it. About right here. Alright, so that's kind of the gist of it. Alright guys, I guess I will catch y'all later. Y'all kind of seen what I did before. I protect, seal this wire up, and do a few other things. But I will catch y'all back in a bit. This wire will be done. We'll probably start on the other one tonight. I'll try to show y'all what's going on there, and then probably sometime the beginning of the week I'll finish up some 4/0. So y'all get to hang out on that. So I'll catch y'all guys later. Y'all can kind of see what's happening here. All I've got to do is one more terminal and a little bit more heat shrink and protect this stuff up. And this will have his wire complete. See y'all later. Y'all have a good one.